Pittsburgh is getting set to host North Carolina tonight at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. It's going to be a really interesting game. We got two teams that are sitting in odd spots right now in the ACC. We're not used to seeing North Carolina struggle. Now, North Carolina, we're not used to seeing them struggle. It's been a tough year. They're 6-3 right now in conference, and if you watched what happened this past weekend, you see that they barely got the dub against Boston College. Barely. When I say barely, I mean barely. Barely. I don't know what to think about this North Carolina Tar Heels team. Davis, he's having a good year. It's like he's doing all he can. If you watch the games, you see Davis he's pretty much like the heart and soul of that team right now. He needs to get his teammates to come along with him in this process. This team just they're not clicking the way we're used to seeing North Carolina play. They're 3.5 games back right now, so the season's not over. They're a 13-8 team. They can find their way into March. They can make a run in the ACC tournament. But as far as tonight, as they head to Pitt, I'm kind of concerned for North Carolina. I can't lie. Very good team. Like I said, I think Davis is one of the best in the country. Now, low for Pitt, he's having a standout year. He is. Averaging 17.6 points right now, putting up 4.3 rebounds every game, 5.7 assists. His field goal percentage is a tad bit low. Kid out of Missouri City, Texas. But he's a pretty good player. You know, it's Pitt. He has a ultimate green light right now. Sometimes they find themselves down in games a lot. So I'm gonna assume that's really why the field goal percentage is a little bit lower. So sitting at 38 isn't terrible for the situation, knowing that there probably are a lot of late game shots being thrown up. I believe that Pitt can come out and maybe do something dangerous in this game. The odds right now have Pitt favored at 4.5. They started at 3.5. They've now moved to 4.5. Whew. See, Pitt's going to have to win the front court battle. All season, UNC has struggled with their bigs. If you have some pretty decent big men and you go play against North Carolina, you'll probably come out successful. So if Pitt dominates with their bigs, which I think is actually very, very, very possible. We've seen UNC just get beat in the paint all season. Even with their recent struggles, UNC will get up for this game due to it being a rivalry. This is pretty much a new time rivalry, you could say. These two teams just don't like each other. I wouldn't say it's historically a crazy game. Usually Pitt isn't very good at this time of the year. They're not even in the conversation at this time of the year. So this is a pretty solid year for Pitt. But for North Carolina, hey, I think they're going to come in this game looking to make a statement. They're a decent team when they're playing well. If you watch them play in the final minutes of the Boston College game, you're like, yo, if y'all play like this all game, this wouldn't even be the situation. Wouldn't be playing in overtime against Boston College. So I think I like UNC to pull off the upset. Not just cover the spread at plus 4.5, but I like UNC's money line. I do. I like UNC's money line. I think today they look to make a statement. This is one of those pissed off games for the Tar Heels. They're going to have to come out in this game and dominate early. They're going to have to use their momentum on the road to pull off a big-time ACC win to keep themselves in the hunt. You don't want to fall 4.5, 5 games back. It's over at that point. But they can catch Stanford. They can catch SMU. They got some big-time games coming up. I think Pitt comes back down to earth after their Syracuse win. We saw them lose a tough game in overtime to Clemson. lost to Florida State, lost to Louisville, lost to Duke. They've been losing games. I think they come back down to earth. They had a really good night in their last game on the 25th versus Syracuse. But I think that they come back down to earth in this game. We see some big games coming up for the Tar Heels. This is really a must-win, honestly, for the Tar Heels because you got Duke next. You got Duke next, and then you see Pitt again. So you got to take this game, give yourselves a chance against Duke. I'm sure that Duke is going to win that game. But give yourselves a chance against Duke because then after that, the schedule really lightens up. They've pretty much played the tough part of their schedule. After that, they play Pitt again. Like we said, after Duke, they play Pitt again. Then they'll play Clemson, Syracuse, NC State, Virginia, Florida State, Miami, Virginia Tech, and then finish off the season with Duke. So UNC could be looking at today as, hey, let's get the ball rolling. We have a chance to make a run in this ACC. We could still finish top 2, top 3 in the ACC. I think they'll do that today. I think they will do more than just cover the +4.5 spread. I think UNC is going to win this game.